Walking Wall Poetry on Twitch again. I am Joseph. I have a typewriter, which I'm actually going to hold this down a little more, which I can do poetry on. I have paper right here. This is not paper. Obviously, this is a folder of paper. I try to stream, so I set out to stream every day, and I have not been streaming every day, as has been clear from anybody that might be following me, or which of course there aren't that many people following me, but also it has probably been clear to people that see my Twitch, schedule, if they ever link to it and they pop up to it. So that is the truth of things, is that I had set out to stream a certain amount, and I haven't been streaming that. You get busy real easy. It's real easy to get busy. It's real easy to get caught up in life. But busy is also an excuse. It's also that it's hard to stay on top of this. It's hard to wake up every morning, do the same thing every morning. It's a skill. And so I'm happy to be here, but I'm also kind of just thinking, dwelling, not in a bad way, but sitting with myself on the things that I have had trouble with in terms of just being on top of it all. So yeah, that's kind of it. I'm going to turn this up a little bit so that you guys can hear me a little better. I thought that would work. Does that work a little better? Maybe. I hope that I'm coming through quite clear. I come through clearer when I'm sitting over here, just kind of with the mic. So I'm not sure what I want to write about today. If anybody is interested in requesting something, you're more than welcome to request. But I don't really have a plan for today. And I'm sitting here and just chatting, so maybe it's good just for me to talk it out. I mean, I've always considered these videos to be kind of an archive of the life that I am that I'm kind of living. The way to be just true to myself, true to who I am, and being able to speak that. I am going to maybe start a TikTok where I can do poetry. I think that'd be kind of fun. But there's so many ideas in so little time. And I think what happens, and it probably, it's a self-help book that nobody's written yet, or probably somebody has definitely written it, where you go through what it means when you have too many ideas. It means when you're so focused on trying to be creating all the time and making everything happen, because it's not possible to make everything happen. There's a limit, unfortunately, and it sounds demoralizing, but that's not true. Really, it's not. We have only a certain amount of time on this earth, and that's fine, and that's a beautiful thing. Time is the only non-renewable resource that we have, and so when we try to create everything and do everything, we end up doing very little, because we're just doing little bits of all these things and not focusing in, honing in those skills, getting one thing right. This was working really well for me in the mornings. I would come on here and I would be prepared for either. Be prepared for a moment where somebody requested poetry. That was just something I was ready for. And I was really excited to be ready for that and just be there for that. But also I always have had things prepared for me, like writing this or working on that project or things like that. I feel creatively worn, but it's not a creatively dead. It's much like I do feel like that so much is happening. Probably has a lot to do with the fact that I have been working my 3 other jobs, which is like my constant refrain. My constant refrain is 3 jobs and a small business, which is the writing side. So how is it that I'm able to kind of really hone in on one thing when I'm doing all that? And I think that in retrospect, it was a great idea to start doing 3 different jobs. We have Carisho 15, What's Popping? What's popping is I'm here with a typewriter, ready to write. And I can do poetry for you. I can do poetry for myself. I've just been kind of talking through my life, really, Carisho, because I do so much. I have so many different jobs and things like that I feel like I haven't been able to sit with my writing and be writing in a way that I find valuable. That's my life right now. And that's okay, that we go through these transitions in life. Like, there's no rule book for life. That's the thing that I think growing up has really taught me, is that there's no rule book for life. There's just, we live and we do the best that we can when living. We have fun with it. We sometimes struggle with it, and that's it. So I guess with my rambling and just being here and chatting in the morning and calling people out, Crucio, if it's Crucio or Carisho, no, it's Crucio, that life is life. And it's the best thing that we can have. And it's best to stop dwelling and to just appreciate. And I frankly have nothing to complain about. I've been listening. I started making it more my focus to listen to stories about people who have so much worse going on in their life. So let me know if I'm not coming in clear, Carisho. I know that my computer is a little slow, but I'm thinking that I'm going to pop in a poem, kind of maybe just to talk about how I feel. Though I am more than willing to take a request of any sort at this moment. And for anybody that's watching now or later on the replay, I have the typewriter camera, which will show the poem in action. Let's see, here is the typewriter camera working. Do I really have that old typewriter? Yes, there's actually 2 in the frame. If you're looking at the view now, there are 2 typewriters in the frame. This one up here, I do not know the year of it. It's probably like 60s, early to mid 60s is probably the year. This is a Florida typewriter. It was made in Spain. Basically, it's under a different company that made it, but they just branded it Florida to try to sell it in America. And then behind me, sitting behind the camera here, the camera stand, is an old Royal 10. I think that's like a 1928, 27, something like that, typewriter. And I have like 20 more. I collect them. So yeah, and I can write poetry right on the spot with these typewriters. And I'm going to show back the typewriter camera. Here we go. And this is where I'm going to be writing some poetry. Would you like a poem, Carisho? Would you like me to write a specific poem for you? I do it on the spots. If you feel like you want a tip, that's up to you. It's totally just a choice. I love just connecting with people through the platform. It's a new thing for me. Only been streaming about 28 days now, so it's just having fun. If you do not want to request a poem, that's perfectly fine. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be jumping in here and writing a little bit about my feelings right now. And if everything works right, it's a little faint, but you should be able to see the typing happen. One day I'll get myself a better camera, which will be clearer. It is hard to type. Use the typewriter, says Cree Show 15. It is definitely a challenge to learn on a typewriter, like to learn how to type differently on a typewriter. That is definitely true. When I started typing a lot on a typewriter, I often was making typos, having little blips in my typing where keys would mess up. There's a rhythm to it because it doesn't work just like a keyboard where anytime I click something, it's like click, 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 click. Keyboards are easy. Keyboards are very easy. And that's good. It's they were designed to be better for computers, but a typewriter, you're actually, when I press down on this key, you can kind of see possibly in the video that this, that's when the keys are coming up. So if I switch over to my typewriter camera and I maybe angle this down just a little more, so we're looking at all of our type bars here. If I press it down a little slowly and I come up, it doesn't actually type a letter. So you got to use some force like that when you're actually typing on a typewriter. But when you get used to it, it's a lot of fun. It's a way more fun than a computer because you feel yourself working that action. Oh. I didn't mean to type double spaced, but that's how this poem decided to come out. This morning has been a little cathartic for me, Crucio. I usually stream every morning, and I haven't streamed in like, I think, almost a week now. And so I have been struggling a little bit with all that. And that has been my feeling. And so I wrote this poem entitled "Who Are You?" to kind of think over that, how I've been really busy and I've been really just overwhelmed. Senseless in myself, doubt creeps, but I seek to know myself. Tired of these ethereal notions. Give me sunlight in the Shenandoah Hills. Give me the strong brick of downtown. The ironclad workforce hoping letters say something. I hear it in the whisper of the dead birds we never see, the graveyard near the house. You are not perfect and never will be. I think as creators, for me at least, I do not know if you create anything, Crucio. If you do, tell me what you create. I'd love to learn. I love to hear about people's stories and their lives. But for me as a creator, there's this notion of you got to make everything look good, look polished. Thank you, Crucio. I really appreciate it. But that as a creator, we have to make everything look polished. And I don't feel polished. I feel like a mess. And some days things are a lot smoother. Other days I feel like a longing to actually be the type of person that I'm portrayed as. And isn't that weird that like we have this persona? I have this persona for me. I think every human kind of does this in a little way. I have this persona. And I want it to be this way. I want it to be, I want to emulate that in the world and say, this is what being a poet looks like, or this is what being the walking mo poet looks like. But that's not what it really is. We're just people. We're people all trying, and so we may look good in that moment, but we really aren't. We are a lot of times in pain, imperfect. You are not perfect, and you will never will be. When I wrote the poem, I put, "You are not perfect," in the quotes, and never will be, because never will be is kind of like my acceptance of that. And that's not to say that we can't be awesome. Like, it's saying very demotivational, but like it's really about embracing what how I feel. Crucio says that I did painting in high school, but I gave it up. Well, I'm sorry that you ended up giving it up, but it's never too late to ever pick up the brush or the ink in a metaphorical sense. That is one thing that I have taken to heart. And I mean, still, regardless, you don't even have to either. Like, you don't have to be a creator to have meaning in the world. But it sounds like but I gave up. There's something there that I hear even in just the cold hard type of the chat in terms of how you are feeling. And I would encourage you to consider picking up a paintbrush. The thing is like, I have a little keyboard that's in my apartment. Me and my wife share this apartment, and we both share this little keyboard. It's not a piano per se, because it's like an electric keyboard. Sometimes I go there and I hit keys. I'm not a trained pianist. Never have taken a single class. Sometimes I can find the right keys and come out with a melody. Melody I might have heard in a song. Like there's a 21 Pilots song. I don't know if you ever heard of 21 Pilots, but there's a 21 Pilots song that I love the melody for. I think I did a La La Land song melody too once with the keys. But sometimes I just sit there and I hit the keys. And I listen to what they sound like. Listen to what different sounds sound like. And it doesn't come out like that Mozart piece. Like it doesn't come out like a composition, something crafty or perfect. It just comes out nice for me because I'm the one hitting it, and I feel comfortable knowing that I can create something even if it's not perfection. Like, I don't know, like there was like a canvas that apparently like I sold for millions of dollars. That was just like, I think like a certain shade of blue down, like the entire canvas, like just one color. So art's what you make of it. That's what I love about. Good morning. Garuccio, I can imagine you might be in a different time zone. But art's what you make of it. I am just glad to be able to sit here in the morning and write, who are you? And to ask that question in a way that helps me. Poetry can be so helpful to people, and me included. It helps me. It helps me make sense of myself. Like I came on here, I didn't want to stream. Like you get that vibe of it's been a while since I've streamed last time, and now I'm streaming again. I'd like to do realistic paintings. Well, that's good, and it's. I mean, I can't do a realistic painting for my life, so there is definitely something to be said about that. And hey, you can always pick up the brush and paint what you want to paint. And I think that the challenge with realistic paintings, scenes and vistas and things like that, like for me, has always been like, I gotta learn it. There's some skill sets there that I don't have. And I could get if I wanted to spend the time, but I don't want to spend the time. Yeah. And that's what I've been doing. I was talking about something else before about, the helpfulness of poetry, and even helpfulness of painting too, is we can use art to help overcome the mental challenges that we might be going through. And even though I know that lesson, I don't always use that lesson. And isn't that funny? I mean, like, there's so many people that I know that I've helped with my art, and I'm not trying to say that in any sort of pretentious or look at me sense. I just know. I know. And I'm very happy about that. But I need to use that for myself. Like it's not like this type of thing is important. I should have done this several days ago. And that doesn't mean it's going to solve all my problems. I mean, that's the thing. The problems are never solved. Well, not always never solved, but oftentimes never solved. But at least this gives me a new perspective. It's there in the type. I've written it down. And so I can't walk back from that now. I mean, you can, but like it's harder because I've now set out my I'm not going to say like manifesto, but I've set out my belief, my desire. And it's there, and I have to face it. I wrote that. I have to face the fact that now I got to make better on my self-commitment to not do too much and to accept my imperfections. So I think that's something I might want to do more studying in, is art therapy or something like that. I think it'd be fun. So, Carisio, I'm going to sign off here. I usually do these streams for about a half an hour. I'm cutting off a little early because I have a very busy day ahead of me. It is Monday here in the East Coast of the United States. I want to thank you for tuning in and being with me as I kind of did this exploration with myself. It means a lot that you hopped into the chat and shared your story, asked about typewriter, and just was there for me in a moment where I really wanted to have someone there. And thank you so much for the follow, Crucio. It means so much. So thank you again. You have a wonderful day. I am going to attempt to do this stream every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States. If you want to pop in, you can pop in. You can always request poems for yourself, for a loved one. It's all there. So you have a great day.